Today's topics from Reuters Breakingviews. Do as I say, not as I do. Germany calls for Eurozone austerity while raising its own wages. And who'll fill the shoes of JP Morgan banker Ian Hannam? Peter Tarl-Larsen joins me. You like that intro?
I do, yeah, very good.
Should have been your headline, really, shouldn't it?
Exactly.
6.3% wage rise for public sector workers in Germany over the last 2 years as the periphery freezes, even cuts pay for public sector workers. It's a stark contrast.
It is, and it's potentially quite problematic for the Eurozone. I mean, the Germans, you can see where the Germans are coming from, because actually German wage restraint in the previous sort of 10 years is one of the reasons why the German economy is now so competitive and has managed to stay competitive and is actually doing quite well compared to the rest of the Eurozone. And the German workers obviously think it's payback time and time to get some to share in some of the benefits of this. But if this feeds through into consumer spending, into inflation in Germany, then you have a problem at the ECB, because the ECB is trying to set rates and set monetary policy for the whole Eurozone, and the contrast between the sort of hot core and the frozen periphery will get worse.
So your point is, while they deserve this 6.3% because they've had such restraint for the past decade, it could end up hurting everyone.
Well, it's a reflection of the sort of the two-speed nature of the Eurozone economy, essentially, and that is reflected in all kinds of things. It's reflected in sovereign bond spreads. It's reflected in kind of
that's not in Germany's interest.
In the internal imbalances, and the problem is that the ECB is trying to sort of straddle that with great difficulty. And in the meantime, of course, you have this big problem around the periphery, and actually you've got a two-speed Europe, and it's increasingly, even though you've sort of solved the immediate crisis, the imbalances inside the Eurozone will just get greater.
Okay, let's move on to Ian Hannam. This was there was much hoo-ha about this yesterday. This is this JP Morgan banker. He's been fined by the FSA. He's resigned as a result to deal with this. Now, Hugo Dixon writes a piece entitled "Who'll Fill His Shoes?" There are no names thrown forward, so I'm assuming no one can fill this guy's shoes. Is that what you're saying?
No single person, we think. Yes, I mean, Hannam is probably the most significant capital markets banker in London over the past sort of 10, 15 years, and he's done a couple of things. First of all, he's brought a lot of foreign companies to list in London, emerging market mining companies, not without some controversy, but he was very instrumental in that. He's also just raised a lot of money for a lot of institutions, including banks in the crisis, and so that leaves a sort of a base of kind of clients which will be fought over and carved up. Now, some of that will be held onto by his team at JP Morgan, and JP Morgan obviously has got a big balance sheet and everything, but that team might be prone to sort of poaching, and obviously the other banks will be crawling all over the client list and saying, can we pick off some of these clients?
JP Morgan must be worried.
Yeah, I think they probably are. I mean, I think they think there's sort of other people there who can help fill in the void, but not totally fill in the void. But then there's the broader question, which is, what does he do? He's staying on at JP Morgan to see through the Xstrata Glencore deal. Was very instrumental in building up Xstrata, but he's going to fight this tribunal, but that's going to take a year to 18 months. Yes. So it's hard to see him doing anything in the meantime.
It's not for me to say, because I'm not an economist, but you know, when a man of this caliber says he's resigning to spend however long, 12 to 18 months, fighting the FSA, I think I'd be worried if I was the FSA.
Yeah, I think the FSA probably should be worried. I mean, the case is pretty thin. I mean, it's basically based on these 2 emails that he sent, you know, kind of which disclosed confidential information. But the FSA itself admits that no trading took place on the basis that he didn't benefit from it. The people who received the emails, there's no evidence that they traded on this information. So it's a kind of insider non-trading case. So, you know, and I think probably he will have to take some time to clear his name, but he will probably be back in some capacity. The question is what happens in the meantime. And one possibility, of course, is that the business that he generated, the companies that he brought to London, that some of those now just won't come and will go elsewhere.
Former SAS guy as well, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
All right.
A very colourful guy.
Good, Peter, many thanks for that. That's it for now. For more Agenda Setting Insight, watch our US Breaking Views show every day, 12:30 Eastern, 16:30 GMT. I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.